of voter fraud. Let's turn to our attention to those voting machines and the allegations of tampering. Joining us now to talk about this issue, Kenneth Timmerman. He's the author of The Election Heist. So, Ken, what have you seen so far that gets your attention in these discussions?
Well, the recent hearings in Arizona and Pennsylvania have been very good for the president. In Arizona, in particular, they brought out, Giuliani brought out a former colonel in U.S. military intelligence who was a cyber expert. He had been doing this kind of thing, looking into fraud, looking at penetration of electronic networks, and he provided, I thought, very compelling testimony of how you would get inside of a cyber system like the Dominion voting systems and hack it exactly as I described in The Election Heist. I was really astonished listening to his testimony. I said he could be reading from my book right now. And that's the thing about writing fiction. I got to tell you, Bob, you look at fact. I'm a reporter by training. I've spent 35 years as an investigative reporter and as a war correspondent. I've covered many wars in the Middle East. But you take that knowledge, you take that information, that investigation, and then you project it forward so that you can try to get an idea of what would happen in the future. That's what I did in the book, and that's what I saw in this Arizona testimony. They are now coming out with the facts that show all of the experts I consulted were on the right track.
Yeah, Kenneth, but at the same time, you have all of these courts, throwing out all of these allegations and people all across the country not hearing what's being said in these hearings. The question I want to ask you, though, is in reference to the voting machines, because you've done some research on that. It wasn't just the Dominion voting machines that have had problems and issues. So why has it, grown to this level of irregularity?
Well, it's a very good point that you raised there, Heather. And again, the Phil Waldron, the former colonel in U.S. military intelligence, laid out very clearly that all of the voting systems that we use today in the United States have the same DNA in the software. They all rose out of or developed out of that Diebold Smartmatic original software. So they have the same backbone. And all of them also seem to have these back doors where you can get into the software either directly at the precinct level or when the data is being transferred overseas to these servers. By the way, I don't think any Americans knew that voting data was being transferred to servers overseas in real time on election night. That was a pretty big revelation.
All right, Kenneth Timmerman, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more of American Agenda after this.